Yes, we do. We'll keep that tradition if you become mayor. So Senator Hunley, obviously you want to run for mayor. The big question is why and how.
I want to run because I refuse to believe that this is as good as it gets. I think our city's best days are ahead of us, and I think that it's going to take some new energy. I think it's going to take some folks who are ready to support the city and who are ready to shift a bit of the culture and lead us on to our next great chapter.
So what do you mean by a shift in culture? Like, how is your mayorship distinct from your predecessor?
So I think that the what of city government is always the same, right? We should be making sure that our schools are strong, that our roads are safe, that our community is safe as well, right? Those are the things we should be focused on. We should be focusing on growing small businesses, attracting a talent. That's the role of a mayor. What's different about me is the how, my approach. I've been in leadership for 2 decades, right? I lead in a collaborative way, in a way that's transparent, in a way where I hold myself and everyone around me accountable. I think that's the difference.
Tell us what kind of needs to change within the city of Indianapolis, and how do you kind of hope to, cater to those who still want to see a little bit of establishment, but are kind of really unsure?
I think that this perspective of like establishment versus, I think that that's a fallacy. I think that what we're talking about is that we should be doing more of what works and less of what doesn't. We have some great vision plans that have been created here in our city, great groups of people that have come together to plan big, bold things. The problem is that there hasn't been action, that those are sitting on a shelf. We have brilliant minds. We have brilliant business leaders. We have brilliant folks working in city government right now. We need to empower them to take action, and we need the leadership who's going to create the vision to make sure that happens.
When the mayor was asked if he was going to run again, sort of gave a non-answer answer, said he's thinking about it, he'll make a decision later this year. Your thoughts on if he just run again for a 4th term? And if he does, what does that do for money, resources, and the whole 9 yards?
I am focused on this. Look at this. I'm running for mayor, regardless of who else is in. I'm ready for a next chapter in Indianapolis, and I think other people are too. So I'm excited, and the resources are coming. They're already coming, and I'm so thrilled at the diversity of the partnerships that we've already been able to cultivate. And so I'm ready, and I think the city is too.
Do you have a sense of like who's in this room with us today? Like what parts of the city they come from? Like what, I don't know. Like how would you describe
Do I have a sense? Let me tell you something about Principal Hunley. I love data. I love data collection. So you can bet that every single person that's here, we've already crunched the numbers, right? We've already been looking at what areas of the city people are coming from and where we have more outreach to do. So I'm absolutely being strategic, but we really do have people from Pike to Perry, from Beech Grove to Belmont Beach, from Wayne to Warren. It is incredible that we have folks from all over the city and out of town. I mean, my cousins and my aunt and uncle from Chicago surprised me by being here today. And so I think that the energy is incredible. I mean, we've got teachers and union workers, lots of artists and musicians, as well as our business leaders and retirees who've been doing work in the city for a long time. And yes, I've made a few lobbyist friends from the hallway at the State House, and they're also here in the room too, which really means a lot.
On the issue, if you do become mayor, obviously with property tax caps and Senate Bill 1 that you were part of that discussion, the city's going to have a lot of trouble finding money and resources. So can you give us some sort of initial thoughts on how you're going to be able to do everything you want to do with a much smaller budget?
Well, I think that a couple of things are true. One, I understand the constraints because I've served on our Tax and Fiscal Policy Committee, and I was there when we passed Senate Enrolled Act 1, and I know that we're going to hit a cliff in 2028 with the budget. It's going to be a challenge. But I also know that our pie doesn't have to be finite. We have a lot of resources that we haven't entirely tapped into. Things like federal grants as well, additional partnerships from the private sector, but then we also have new partnerships that have been curated at the State House. And I think we can't, negate the fact that I do have many members in the General Assembly on speed dial, and I know that they want the same thing that I do for Indianapolis, and that's for us to be a thriving city. Because if Marion County isn't thriving, we bring in 30% of the state's GDP. If we're not thriving, then the other 91 counties aren't either. And so I think that we leverage partnerships, and then we also look at where waste is happening. I mean, there was just news reporting this past week about, waste and fraud, quite frankly, that was happening in some of our city agencies. And so we have to address that. And there's money. And when there isn't, then we'll have to make tough decisions.
Thoughts on data centers?
Thoughts on data centers. I think that right now it seems really haphazard. It seems really hectic. And we need to take a strategic and holistic approach to what that type of economic investment looks like. But I also think that that's the refrain for a lot of things. I think a lot of things feel haphazard and hectic right now, and we need to take a strategic approach to what development looks like, what our city's growth plan is. It should be coordinated, and right now it feels careless.
Should there be a moratorium on new data centers?
I think that it's important for us to figure out where we're going, what the plan is. And so if that means putting a pause on development for a short term so that we can plan out what that strategy should be and actually engage the community and listen to the community, not just pretend and put a microphone up and then ignore what they say, but actually partner with community members, then we can have a plan that benefits everyone. So I think that a pause would be wholly appropriate in order to do that.
You've worked in education for a little bit. Tell us what any of your plans for IPS, declining enrollment, charter schools. Any plans for that?
Wouldn't the city be better off having someone who's an expert in education lead during these trying times? I mean, I don't know anyone else who has this level of expertise in education that's currently running for mayor, and I think that it's a gift because, yes, you mentioned Indianapolis Public Schools, but we have 11 school districts in Marion County. The mayor doesn't just oversee the enrollment and the finances of one. It's critical to partner with every single district. And in our donut counties, they're losing enrollment as well. We have all sorts of challenges, from our public schools to our private schools to our traditional schools and our charter schools. And I understand that landscape. I worked in 3 different school districts here in Indianapolis alone. And so I think that I'm really the best positioned to help tackle those challenging problems.
Last question.
Any thoughts on consolidation in township government?
Consolidation of township government.
Yeah.
Well, look at my voting record in the Senate. I mean, I think that we need to be strategic about our investments, but at the same time, we need to make sure that government's working for everyone. And many of our township governments are positioned to support the neediest in our community. I mean, if you look at what Trustee Freeman is doing in Center Township, it's incredible work. I mean, I could go on and on and on about many of our township trustees and the work that they're doing. And so I think that we can't talk about elimination unless we have a plan for how we're going to transition those services. And so I think that would be really presumptuous to do.
So what's next?
What's next? Well, we're going to dance a little more, and we're going to raise some money, and I'm going to win this thing. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you.